Hello everyone, welcome to the Salesforce interview questions, advanced and scenario based. Today, interview question number 2. So sometimes in the interview they will ask you that there are two users, user A, user B, and in the same company, and they have access to same object. But user A needs to see specific fields of that object and user B different fields. Or let's say there are some pick list in that object. So from that pick list, user A should be able to see some specific pick list values that user B should not see. So this kind of questions they may ask you. So at that time you can explain them the usage of record type. By using record type, you should tell that you can actually display different pages, different fields, and also the different pick list values to the different users in the Salesforce project. And this way they both will be getting a different business path, different process by which they will be able to achieve their respective targets. So this can be your answer for this kind of scenarios or scenario based question. Thank you. Hello guys, welcome to the Salesforce interview questions, advanced and scenario based interview questions. Let's talk about interview question number 4. So sometimes in the interview they may ask you like how to modify formula field or the role of summary fields in coding by programming. Sometimes they will ask you, can we modify this by admin skill, non-programming? Answer is no, we cannot modify. Then they sometimes may ask you, okay, then by coding can we do that by Apex programming or something like that. So please note that these are the non-writable fields, non-modifiable fields, because they are based on some other fields, and that's the reason. Even though you try to modify this field by coding, you cannot do it. That should be your answer. And let's meet in next video. Hello everyone, welcome to the Salesforce interview questions, advanced and scenario based. So let's talk about today's interview question number 5. So sometimes in the interview they ask you that can we call one batch from another batch, and at that time we need to say the answer is from the finish method. But in the same interview they may also ask you why not from execute method. So you can say one reason is execute method is getting called multiple times, not only one time like the finish method. Then another counter interview question may come, then they will say okay, then start method only getting called one time. What about that? So why not in that function? So please note, as per the Salesforce system of batch programming, even start method is not going to be allowed. It is also going to throw a same error that we get in execute method. So we cannot call one batch from another batch through start as well as execute method because of this technical limitation. Only from finish method. Thank you. The Salesforce interview question, advanced and scenario based question series, and let's talk about question number 6. So sometimes they ask in the interview that suppose there is a class 1 which is having the keyword with sharing, and a class 2, class B without sharing. So suppose we are calling a function from class B without sharing. So from class A, what will happen? So in this case we have clearly mentioned class B equal to without sharing, so that function will be called in the same context or reference of without sharing. Simple. And then they will also ask you, okay, suppose nothing is mentioned with sharing, without sharing, no keyword is mentioned for class B, then what will happen? Okay, at that time we need to find out what is the keyword present in class A. It is mentioned as with sharing. Okay, then the function from class B will be called as with sharing. Suppose the keyword used in class A is without sharing. Okay, then the function of class B also will be called as without sharing scenario, without sharing scenario. So it depends on the situation how actually the things work, and this way you can give the answer in the interview. So the summary, if the keyword is mentioned in the class B, then it works as per that class B's keyword. If nothing is mentioned, then it will work as per class A's keyword. Thank you. Hello everyone, welcome to the Salesforce interview questions, advanced and scenario based questions. So let's talk about interview question number 7. So today's question is something like this. Sometimes in the interview they will ask you what is the difference between record type and page layout and how you have utilized them in your project. Means they will try to understand how you differentiate these two things or what kind of information you have about that. So please note that you can say both record types and page layouts are standard features in Salesforce, and we can work on this in the configuration mode without doing any kind of customization. And page layout helps us to define or show or decide how we will show the fields to the customer, the sequence of the field, the display of the record, like in what sequence we want to show the fields, buttons, and etc. Specifically more about look and feel. But record type helpful for mapping the page with the certain profiles, which page to show, which department, which profile. And also you can say record types extends the capability of page layout to fulfill the business requirement, to define differentiating business processes, different business processes. This you can answer for this kind of question. Let's meet in the next video. Have a good time. Hello everyone, welcome to the Salesforce interview questions, the advanced and scenario based questions. Let's talk about today the question number 8. Please note the question is a kind of a hypothetical question. Here they will ask you, assume a manager who is handling, let's say, a team of 50 users in the organization, and let's say he's leaving the company, he's leaving the organization. So what will happen and how you will handle this scenario, this situation? So guys, now here the interviewer is simply trying to understand your capability and your skill sets related to this user management and the role and other scenarios management. So first of all, also let me ask you, what will happen if I inactivate the manager? So please note that the answer for this question, you can give like something like this. So you can say, first of all, the best approach is to deactivate the manager's account and reassign the team to another manager. But you cannot do this directly. To prevent this reassignment, to avoid any kind of issue and to avoid users to log in to the system during this reassignment, the best practice says, the Salesforce best practice says, you first of all freeze the team members login temporarily by using the option freeze, which is available on the record page, by the way, user record page, and then do the reassignment. And again, after that, once it is done, then the old manager who is leaving the organization, you deactivate that new manager who got all these assignments automatically by whatever we are done by freezing the user. Activate him means unfreeze him, and he will be have now new rights because he will be able to handle a team now, and also related other users. So you unfreeze. So this way, in the proper sequence, you have to manage, you have to follow this entire process because it can impact 30, 40 or more than 100 users depending on your company's format. Okay, so this way you can answer your interview question. Let's meet in the next such scenario. Till then, have a good time. Hello guys, welcome to the Salesforce interview questions, advanced and scenario based. So today we are going to see question number 9. So sometimes in the interview they ask you a question like, for example, they will ask you that suppose you are working on any Salesforce project, then how you will convert 15-digit record ID into 18-digit record ID and vice versa. So please note, when you are having the data which is old data in Salesforce, and in the past days, before few years, we used to work on 15-digit ID. So with that context, interviewers may ask this kind of question. So in this case, you can say, if I want to convert 15-digit into 18-digit, then there is a function case safe ID that I will use. And if I want to do vice versa, then I don't need any function. Just by removing last 3 letters, I can convert into 18 to 15-digit ID. So this This scenario is a little bit tricky because for 15 to 18 we do need function, but for 18 to 15 we don't need any function. But interviewers try to confuse by this kind of questions, so we have to give answers like this. Let's meet in the next video. Hello everyone, welcome to the Salesforce interview questions, advanced and scenario based questions, and let us see question number 10. Sometimes in the interview they will ask you that suppose you are working on some admin level job, and you got a requirement to allow a customer to work on knowledge articles. Then what kind of steps you will do? So please note that directly any user cannot work on the knowledge articles. First of all, we have to assign the license, knowledge related license to that user, and that is we can do on the user detail page. So as an admin, first of all, you will say we will give the license to that particular user, and then only he will be having access to the necessary knowledge articles, and that you can do by his profile level setting. There are various companies in the market who work on the knowledge articles in Salesforce projects. So in that case, when they are hiring admins or developers, they ask this kind of question. So you have to give the knowledge license, and second, give the permission to that particular user from the profile. This will be your answer. Let's meet in the next video. Hello everyone, welcome to the Salesforce interview questions, advanced and scenario based question series. So let's talk about today's question number 11. So sometimes in the interview they will ask you that what is the null pointer exception, or when you face this problem in the Salesforce project. So guys, please note null pointer exception is an error in Salesforce which generates when you're writing such a code which is trying to use that object which is not instantiated, and at that case you will get this kind of error. So you need to instantiate the object properly, and then this error will not come. This kind of error in a trigger also you can get, and you just need to understand that this is a kind of a issue with your code, and you can answer these kind of things in the interview by explaining the possible reasons of null pointer exception. Okay, so they may ask you that why it will be generated. So let's meet in the next interview question. Hello everyone, welcome to the Salesforce interview questions, the advanced and scenario based questions. So today we are going to see question number 12. Generally in the interview they will ask you when to use database.insert and when to use normal insert. So in this case you can answer like this. If let's say you have a bunch of records and you are trying to insert them, and let's say if any single record is having some problem, issues, error occurs, then all the records you want to cancel, then you prefer normal insert statement. But out of bunch of records, any one or two of records are having problem, error, you want to neglect them, and remaining records you want to successfully allow to be inserted, a partial commit, partial insert you want, at that time you need to use database.insert. This way you can answer the interview question. Let's meet in the next interview question. Hello guys, welcome to the Salesforce interview question, advanced and scenario based questions. So in this series today we are going to see question number 14. So sometimes in the interview they may ask you that what is the difference between the partial copy sandbox and full copy sandbox. So in this case you can answer like by saying the partial copy sandbox is specifically useful for copying the metadata from the production. It's not more related to the data copy or the live environments complete data. So it's all about getting the metadata than data. But if you talk about full copy sandbox, then it is exactly the replica of production, metadata, the records, and all the information which actually you see in the production you will get as a kind of a copy, carbon copy on full copy sandbox. So this you can answer in the interview. Hello everyone, welcome to the Salesforce interview questions, the scenario based and advanced questions. So today we are going to see question number 15. Today's question is about the interview question related to data skew. So sometimes they will ask you what is the data skew problem in Salesforce. So generally you will see this when you have a large volume of data in the database specifically. So when you have large number of records in the parent and child relationship. So let me tell you what to answer for this question. So you can say that when for any parent record the child record count is more than 10,000, there is a parent record, and for that some child records are there, and the child record count is more than 10,000. At that time, we get this data skew error. And there are three types of data skew problems. One is for account skew, when you are working on the account object. Second is ownership skew, and next is a lookup skew. We'll talk about this types of skews in any other interview question video, but the main question is how to answer the data skew problem. So this way you can answer the data skew issue. Okay, let's meet in the next video. Hello everyone, welcome to the Salesforce interview questions advanced and scenario based question series. In the video number 16, we are going to see one question where they generally ask you how you will modify an Apex class in the production environment. So in this case, if you say the answer is like directly I will modify in the production, I will change it in the production, then that will be a wrong process. Rather than that, you can say that generally the process should be followed like this. We cannot modify Apex class directly in the production. We need to be first of all taking it on the sandbox, then do the modification, and again deploy to the production. So this is the approach you can follow for the triggers also and an Apex class also. And this way you can answer this question. Hello everyone, welcome to the Salesforce Advanced and Scenario Based Interview Questions. Today we are going to see question number 17. Sometimes they will ask you what is the difference between Salesforce.com and Force.com. So in this case you can answer like by saying Salesforce.com is a software and Force.com is a platform. Salesforce.com is an example of software as a service and Force.com is an example of platform as a service. So Force.com provides a platform. On top of that, this Salesforce software is running. This is something you can explain in the interview. Thank you. Hello everyone, welcome to the Salesforce interview questions, advanced and scenario based question series. So today we are going to see question number 18. So in the interview, sometimes they will ask you what is the meaning of transfer of record, or what is the meaning of doing transfer in profile. Please note, transfer is a facility or a permission which we can give in a profile level, and if any user has that permission, then he can actually work on the ownership. He can transfer the ownership of the records in Salesforce. That is the benefit of using transfer. So this permission will help you to change the owner, a kind of ownership transfer. Okay, that is one thing. And also please note that here we can even use this permission. We can share a record with others. With this, we can even share the record with others. Okay, so this is again answer in the interview. Let's go for second question. Hello everyone, welcome to the Salesforce Advanced and Scenario Based Interview Questions. Today we are going to see question number 18. Let us see what is that. So sometimes in the interview they will ask you what is the meaning of fiscal year and how and why we use fiscal year. So please note, fiscal year is actually known as the starting and ending date of the company's financial year. Sometimes companies start the financial year at 1 April and end with 31st March. Some companies 1 January and end with 31st December, etc. So this is called as fiscal year. And there are two types of financial years in Salesforce that we follow. One is standard financial year or standard fiscal year, and second is custom fiscal year. This can be the answer in the interview. Let's meet in another video. Hello everyone, welcome to the session, and let's talk about today's Salesforce interview question, advanced and scenario based. So today's question is going to be question number 20. So guys, today's question is, sometimes in the interview they may ask you the question like what is the benefit of using the System.runAs, why we use that. So generally guys, whenever we work in Apex, it works in a system mode, and where the permissions of or accessibility of user is not taken into the consideration. So if you want to do testing of few things or certain code, how it will work behalf of a specific user in Salesforce, at that time we use run as method. This way you can answer this question. Thank you. Hello everyone, welcome to the Salesforce Advanced and Scenario Based Interview question. Today we are going to see question number 21. Let me tell you what is that. So sometimes they will ask in the interview that what is the mixed DML error or exception. So you can say that whenever in the projects we are actually working together with setup and non-setup object, if we bring the scenarios where we are performing the DML activity on setup and non-setup objects in the same transaction, at that time we get the error. And please note, to avoid that, we can take the benefit of some asynchronous coding and divide this code, setup in one side and non-setup code in another side. Like this, we have to segregate the code, and then this error can be avoided. For that, you can use future annotation, but don't write this combination in a single transaction and perform separated DML operation like this. Then error will be solved. Thank you.